Welcome to this web series by LeverX on end-to-end integrated product lifecycle management, the journey which is part of SAP's design to operate. LeverX is a longtime SAP partner since 2003, with deep know-how and capabilities in product data management, product lifecycle management, engineering change, workflow integration, and the digital supply chain. Since 2020, LeverX is a global alliances partner to Siemens, and today we will focus on the deep integration capabilities between Siemens Teamcenter and SAP. Joining me today is Tuck Nguyen, Siemens PLM Solution Advisor at SAP, as well as Achim Russell, Senior Vice President, Business Development at DSC Software. First, let's kick it off to Tuck to learn more about the journey of Siemens and SAP joining forces to accelerate the industrial transformation. After this, we will pass it on to Achim for a demonstration of Teamcenter integrated with SAP. With that, Tuck, take it away.
Thank you very much, Chris. SAP is very happy actually to support this partnerships, and from our perspective, our customers will be able to realize the benefits of having Teamcenter to drive the product innovations and also be able to streamline the data integrations, especially with the PDMI integrations that Achim is going to share with us. Because from SAP perspective, the design data need to be consumed downstream through the digital supply chains throughout the entire process, and then be able to go back and feedback that data and to restart the sustainable product innovations from that perspective. So having a PDMI integrations definitely establish the digital thread, and then in the end, the digital twins that will be able to allow our customers to focusing on product innovations and be able to sustainable growth for their business, and also be able to capture the voice of the customers from that perspective. So from that regard, I would very excited, looking forward to see what Achim can share with us. So Achim, would you please take over and share with us what you have?
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Tuck and Chris, for this introduction. My name is Achim Russell from DSC Software. We're a long-term partner in the PLM space of Siemens and PLM, and Siemens and SAP. And I want to show you the integration that we've built to connect Teamcenter and SAP. Let me just quickly share my screen with you. And we have a short demo that we want to show you. But firstly, maybe just give you a quick introduction of what this integration is all about. So how to integrate Teamcenter to SAP. The critical point here, by using Teamcenter and SAP, both very powerful platforms in itself, so Teamcenter for PLM, SAP for the complete business process, ERP, is to integrate the two. So typically you have data coming from authoring tools, mechanical, electronic, software tools that define the product. This is actually where the digital twin is born and where the data needs to flow into the system. So capturing all this information in the product data management part of this overall process is a key to the entire end-to-end process. So integration is a must to make sure that this data seamlessly flows into the end-to-end process designed to operate in SAP. In order to do so, SAP has started to create integrations, not only to cut directly like in the past, but also to third-party PLM solutions like Windchill, 3D Experience, and also Teamcenter. For this, SAP has created, as you can see here in the blue, the SAP PDMI, the Product Data Management Integration, which is a plugin to integrate all of these third-party PLM systems into SAP with an own persistency layer and with specific adapters to the various PLM tools. A very important one, of course, is the Teamcenter integration in the light of this new partnership between SAP and Siemens. This is how the integration works. Based on the PDMI that you can see on the right-hand side, coming from SAP, we from DSC have built the SAP PDMI integration to Teamcenter. This is the plugin that sits inside of Teamcenter, collects all the information, uses T4EA as an API, and provides the information to the downstream SAP processes. In a little bit more detail, You can see in the bottom the various data objects that we collect from Teamcenter. Of course, the item and item revision of all different types, PMI data, change data, status data, and so forth. We, from the adapter side, we publish this into the PDMI. In PDMI, there's a persistency layer, there's logic, there are rules being applied, so that the data can then flow into the classic ERP objects as you know them, the material master, BOM, engineering change master, and so forth, also into new manufacturing operations. Based on this technology, you can then build the business processes as you need them. You can exchange BOM data, material data, change data, visuals and documents, including a conversion of the 3D geometries and PMI, because of course in the SAP side, you need neutral formats to do your work. And then you can have, for example, an EBOM coming from Teamcenter. This can be transferred then into an EBOM on SAP side, which then is promoted to various MBOMs, for example. The way we do this work is we use the T4EA, the standard API of Teamcenter, to collect all the information that we need for this process. We filter this, we complete this, we package it. So even for very large assemblies, we build one big package, transfer this over to PDMI, where I'll have consistency checks, completeness checks, rules being applied, logic, to then promote it, as I said before, into the classic or new objects in SAP ERP or S4HANA. What I will show you now is a short video that gives us an overview of a very simple use case. I design in CAD, in our example here, NX. I will save the data in Teamcenter and then promote it to SAP. Of course, more business processes are possible. You can synchronize the change processes, the variant configuration, and so forth. But all of these are, of course, based on the standard exchange of that data, as mentioned. Now, this is our demo video. Of course, if required, we can also go into some live demos if you want to know more about how the integration works. So let's just have a look at that. See how I can actually get design data from CAD to Teamcenter, then to SAP. We first start with a small subassembly, and we will load the subassembly here from the active workspace in Teamcenter. This is my normal Teamcenter UI. I can see a Boxer engine assembly here. That's the one I'm working in. And as part of this, I will identify a certain subassembly in NX. So what I've done now is I've loaded this from Teamcenter to my CAD environment to NX. And here I'm selecting one subassembly, the throttle body assembly, which I want to work with. And I can have a quick look at this in itself. And this is just pure CAD work, so it has nothing to do with the interface itself. So you can see the inlet funnel, the short inlet funnel, and I'll work on this later on. I'm looking at the short inlet funnel now. This is our design work, I said before. And let's just pass forward a little bit. What I'm doing is I will do some modifications and save them back to Teamcenter. Now I'm back in my Teamcenter, and what I want to do now is I want to transfer that new data to SAP, because this design is not yet known to SAP. I will do so by selecting a workflow that I've built for this purpose. All I need to do is I need to select the top level assembly, the throttle body assembly, select my workflow, in this case, a workflow to submit the data to SAP, hit OK. And then pretty much that's all I need to do. In the back end, the whole transfer will take place. So the materials, the BOMs, the document data, the links, and so forth, they will all be created. I click on submit, and that's all I need to do. And while the integration now transfers the data to SAP, the engineer can continue his work in Teamcenter. No need to wait. I can see that the workflow is running in the background. So what we want to do now is have a look into SAP and see what has arrived here in SAP. There are different UIs I can use. This is a very classic, if not to say old UI, the product structure browser in SAP, where I can see the BOM that has been created. You can see the items of the BOM, including my inlet funnel. I can see the material of this BOM position and the associated documents that were created by the interface. And of course, I can also visualize these, the PDF document with PMI, with all my data that has come from CAD. Here I see a length of 120, which I will modify later on. And the same thing I can do for the 3D, various ways of showing that. in this case, I can see the sub 3D visual enterprise viewer to visualize my 3D information. So that is all available in SAP if needed. But now, of course, let's continue our work in Teamcenter. Here I see the rich application client, and we also see our SAP view that just mirrors SAP data live on the fly. I can review the transfer details to make sure it's all up to date, and I can see the basic SAP data directly in my Teamcenter. So I don't need to actually move to SAP to see that information. I can see that for the assembly and also for the parts, material numbers were created, material descriptions were synchronized, but also then for the data sets, I can see the related document info record information coming from SAP. All this is, of course, configurable, so you can select what SAP information should be presented to the user. Okay, so that's, let's say, the very first basic step, just transferring a completely new design to SAP. Now we want to do some modification. So what I want to do now is I want to replace this inlet funnel with another one. Again, I will load the NX data from Teamcenter into my work environment in NX. I will create a new part, a new inlet funnel, just by doing copy as, or save as it is, I was called in NX, and just creating a new item. Again, this is all possible to do directly in CAD. You don't need to go to your PLM system to do that. You don't need to worry about any of the management. You just do your work on your design environment. So I have now copied this inlet funnel, and I need it a bit shorter. So I just changed the length of this inlet funnel to 70. You can also see how it has become shorter. And now, of course, I'm updating the drawing. This is important because I need, of course, the correct PMI later on in SAP to do my work. So I'm updating the views, all classic CAD work. And you can also see the PMI information that was added in here. Fast forwarding a slight bit. When I'm done, I can then save my drawing in my new part and, of course, my assembly back to Teamcenter. Hit the save button. There we go. Now, of course, once I've done my design work, I also want to update, of course, my assembly and my BOM in SAP. So again, I do the same thing like before. I select a certain workflow that we have built. You can plug this into an existing workflow, or you can build dedicated workflows for this transfer, either way. And I'm executing this workflow again in the background. The workflow will be executed, data will be transferred to SAP, and without leaving my work environment in Teamcenter directly, I can now see the SAP information for this new funnel, for the shorter one that I've just created. And I can also see the document data, the PDF or the 3D information that was created in SAP. So this is the document info record for the 2D and then also for the 3D. Okay, that's pretty much all the engineer needs to do on Teamcenter side. Let's have a quick look what has happened in SAP. In this case, I use a different UI. This is a more engineering-friendly UI in SAP, a so-called Engineering Control Center. Shows me the same information like SAP GUI or Fiori or a web UI. So what I'll do here, I select, find my right material. Okay, little break here. Go into my folder, look for the material that I've just created, and will review the data. This is my material 5160, the new inlet funnel short, as you can see, was also transferred to SAP. And of course, I can see the details of the material master in here, and also the related 2D and 3D CAD documents via the linked objects browser here. You see the drawing, and you see the 3D. I can open the drawing in an external Acrobat reader, for example, or internally in my SAP 3D viewer. And of course, also the PMI were transferred. Okay, as I said, this is of course important for later on. The important part here, transferring the PMI, is that we don't just transfer them graphically. So I see the line and the letter here, but we also actually transfer the metadata of the PMI so they can be used in downstream processes for quality processes, for manufacturing processes, and so forth. And we can see that in the viewer. I can open the panel here, show the PMI or hide the PMI depending on what I need. And then in the structure tree, I can see the metadata for each and every product manufacturing information that was created here in the system. By clicking on them. Okay, so this is also included in the transfer to SAP. Quite helpful. Okay, you can select them and see them here. Same thing, of course, we want to have a look at what has happened to the BOM. We would expect, of course, that the BOM was also automatically updated, and of course it has been. So we now see a new component in the BOM, the short inlet funnel. Now, we started with showing this engine assembly, but we only worked on the small assembly. Now I'm done with my engine design overall, and I want to transfer the entire design with all its BOMs and structures and whatnot to SAP. In order to do so, the very simple thing I have to do is just select the top level assembly. Again, I select the corresponding workflow for this, hit it OK, and then the entire assembly will be transferred to SAP. All BOMs, all multi-level BOMs will be created, all material masters, all documents, tons of information. In this example, around about 1,000 single parts with many levels of BOMs. And again, this happens completely in the background. So of course, I have a new material master for the top level assembly, and I can also review that on the SAP side again. So I will use my engineering control center for this purpose because it is a really nice possibility to view through large structures. Here I can see the multi-level BOM structure that was created by the integration, and I can browse through my structure from the boxer engine to the throttle body and to the single parts. Okay, so as I said, this is just a very basic, let's say, use case to make sure that design data flows from Teamcenter to SAP. And if you want to use the SAP PO, we can also support this by creating the PO package monitor. Maybe, Chris, we can leave this for a following webcast. At this moment, I'd like to hand it over and to Chris to show the benefits of the integration.
Okay, thank you, Achim. That is really excellent. Very powerful stuff that we saw here. So definitely we will plan to share more in the coming weeks here with additional videos to demonstrate the further integration and capabilities. What we just saw, again, was really a powerful integration between Siemens Teamcenter and SAP. Just a few benefits that we'd like to highlight here is the seamless management of the entire end-to-end product lifecycle. So we really saw that deep integration in a very seamless process. This included the traceability of the product data from its releases, its product development changes, through the entire logistical processes. So of course, that's with the integration, one of the key areas of focus to connect this deep engineering work with the logistical processes that are running in ERP. Total cost transparency throughout the entire product engineering process. So having that complete overview, vision, and transparency that is critical to the entire product lifecycle. The avoidance of data redundancies or manual data entry is very powerful, and we saw this in the demo. Again, coming back to this end-to-end change management. So this is really important because product lifecycle and product lifecycle management, it includes many different processes and departments and people and different data sets. So managing this from the requirements through the end of life is critical. The seamless integration of these authoring systems. So what we saw here is the very powerful Siemens Teamcenter, fully integrated with the very powerful enterprise system of SAP, both ECC and S/4HANA compatible. Because we are working with engineers, of course, we need to keep in mind that user-friendly nature, which is very important and critical to the engineering process. So we saw Siemens Teamcenter, but also in the SAP world with the Engineering Control Center. So we're no longer limited to an SAP GUI or transactional screen. We have an Engineering Control Center built into SAP, and we have Siemens Teamcenter for the CAD design and product data management. Additionally, this modern high-performing IT infrastructure. So, really working with a very robust, a very flexible, yet enterprise infrastructure. This is really the keys to the success in this type of journey and product lifecycle management process. So with all of this, I would like to thank Tuck and Achim for walking us through this end-to-end integration scenario. This was really excellent. Please keep an eye out for additional web series and videos to come. We will release these on our YouTube channel. And with this, we'll close out the session. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Have a great day.